You know what my favorite part about this filming location is I haven't edited the previous vlog, which is the first time I filmed here. So I don't know if the lighting's actually good. So let's see how great this goes. Hello, welcome to the finishing series vlog of July. This is gonna be the last one for a while. I'm going on vacation for like a solid month, and because that pre-filming these vlogs not easy because I try to do 2 weeks to a month per each one. And so when you have a limited amount of time to film a bunch of vlogs and podcast episodes, it kind of makes these vlogs harder to pre-film. So this is going to be the last one for a while. This one does kind of low-key have a theme, which is physical books. Editing me is so happy. This was not planned for a purpose to be easier on me for editing with all the editing I'm gonna have to do, but I'm just realizing that, and I love that for me personally. All right, I have 7 books that are right behind you, that are possibles. First one is going to be Mistborn Era 2, kind of. I forgot there's a 4th book until yesterday, and I don't own it. This is also, if you just like combine Mistborn into one 7-book series, this is continuing. I have read The Alloway of Law, but that was like 2 years ago. So I'm kind of gonna, if I'm going to read these are like bottom of the list. Like if I manage to read the other 4, which is a good chance, in 2 weeks, I will start the process of going through these. So that's a thing. I remember really liking the comedy in Alloway of Law. Yeah. I also remember when I read the Six of Crows duology, the heist aspect reminded me a little bit of the Alloway Law, and I was like, wait a second. Because I gave it 4 stars, I remember that. But I was like, didn't keep my interest enough to immediately read the rest of the series, right? But I think with how much I loved Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, and if I just sit down and give it a second chance, I think I will be obsessed with these. So, I do want to read them. They're just high fantasy, so they're gonna take more out of me, and so they're on the bottom list for that. Also, it's 3 books instead of 1 or 2. So, you know. Alright, the ones that are most definitely gonna happen. We have books 2 and 3 in the To All the Boys I Loved Before series. Which one's first? I think it's P.S. I Still Love You. If you look at it like this, the only way that it is on my shelves, yeah. P.S. I Still Love You, and then Always and Forever, Laura Jean. I know at least I will read this one. This is the one I'm going to start today. So that's why this one's definitely, they look like they aren't large books. They're very floppy, and the text size is pretty average. So I think I can go through them fast. Also, that's another thing. I just read 2 hard-hitting books. One of them fantasy, one of them literary horror. So, like, 2 YA romances that are just easy reads for a palate cleanser seems like a good idea. So at least I will read P.S. I Still Love You, and then read the next book that is most definitely going to happen, which is, if I can get it off the pile without moving you, The Blood of Olympus. See, if I read both the To All the Boys I Loved Before books and this one, that will be finishing 2 series. Which will ruin the fact that I'm in the middle of 69 series, but that's fine. That's fine. Because the other vlog I'm reading for is going to make it so I'm in the middle of 2 more series. So it's fine. The maths. Anyways, this is the last book in the Heroes of Olympus series. This is the only one of the series I have not read. If I read this, I am officially the furthest I've ever been in the Rick Riordan verse. What year did this come out? 2014. Yeah, that makes sense. I would have been a freshman or sophomore. I think I talked about this in my TBR. But yeah, when this came out, it was around the time when, like, you will have to do, like, 8 hours of school, then 8 hours of homework, and then extracurriculars, and all this other stuff, and, you know, early high school days. And so, right, so I just never had time to continue. And then I think eventually I did read, what's the one before this? House of Hades. Um, but it had been such a long time between Mark Athena and House of Hades that I was like, I should restart and reread them. And a few times I have gone back and reread The Lost Hero, but it wasn't until I think last year that I officially went back, reread all of them, and got into this one. And then I just have a thing with endings, and I was like, I'm just gonna put it off. I'm just gonna put it off, and then I put off some more, and put off some more, and put off some more, and here we are. Yeah, that's one of the other reasons why I'm reading the P.S. I Still Love You first, is because I feel like I need a palate cleanser between those two books and this one, because I feel like this one's gonna ruin my whole being and soul and who I am as a person. So I know Leo survives, and that's all that matters. My son. And the only reason I know that is because Bestie the fish is reading a book later on in the universe. And Leo's in it. So therefore, he has to be alive, right? I am scared horrendously of this book. Rick, what are you gonna do to me? I'm worried. And then if I manage to, I should be able to finish both Arwen and the To All the Boys I Love series. I am in my romance era, especially historical romance, to fill in the gap that Bridgerton season 3 was not left, was, period. I have issues. This is not that video. I'm not making a video on that. A Portrait of a Scotsman. I think there's 4 books in this series, which is A League of Extraordinary Women. Right? I think there's 4. I own the first 3. This is the 3rd one. I forgot I own this one. I went to put it on hold on Libby, and then I realized, wait a second. I own this book. It was on this pile. Because I ran out of room down below for all the Book of the Month books that I haven't read yet. Yes, I own the other 2 as well. The first one in the series that I can't remember the name of, and it's deep into the recesses of this shelf, is the historical romance that got me into reading historical romance in the first place, right? And then A Rogue of One's Own that I can see from here on my bookshelf, on my pile of annotated Book of the Month books. Because yes, I annotated it. I have issues. That book, I really love that book. Is it obsessively long? Like, obscenely long. I don't know why I said obsessively. That's the wrong word. Yes, this one seems to be shorter. Thank God. The information at the back was in like the 403, so I think it's just short of 400 pages. But yes, when I managed to get through those 3, I'm gonna reward myself with a historical romance that I've been wanting to read and putting off for some time. And then if I manage to fit into it, I will read the Brandon Sandersons. But that's the plan. I'm gonna go read P.S. I Still Love You. I'm gonna go precariously pile those elsewhere so they don't fall over. And yeah, I'm gonna up to you at some point. I don't know if it's gonna be me in the middle of books at certain points. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. It really depends on what I feel like. It may just be me updating you when I finish a book. Who knows? But yeah, that's everything. That's this obscenely long intro. I'm gonna go film my wrap up. Bye. Oh, hi. It's after 8 p.m. So with only this light on, it's dark as fuck. It's hot. It's humid. I turned off my fan for this. We're not talking about anything except for the fact that I finally finished the thing. It took me 4 days. It's 8 p.m. on the 4th of July. And most of that was today. I think, yeah, this much was over the past 3 days. It was about 2 chapters per day. And the rest of this was today. Did I get the audiobook from Libby? Yes. Do I recommend the audiobook? No. It's one of those audiobooks that was like recorded in the 2010s where the female narrator, because it's a YA book, leaning more feminine and whatnot, to narrate the female main character, makes her voice more high-pitched to make herself seem younger, and it's just fucking annoying. I hate it so much. And thankfully we're over with that trend. But occasionally when you read a book that's a decade old, 2015, so yeah, basically, it comes up occasionally. Thoughts and opinions. It took me a bit. It took me about 10 chapters to get into it. And I would like, I'm giving it 3 stars. things I appreciated. I would like to know, I've only seen the first movie. I've seen parts of the second movie. But I did appreciate the fact, or I did notice the fact that the video of the hot tub scene from the first one of both of them was in the video getting out was in the first movie, but it was in this book, and that was a big part of this book. All like it was heavily like it was like one scene where he just goes like, we didn't sleep together, and then it's all moved past. In this, it's like the first half of the book is about that, about her being constantly bullied. And when it comes to that, we gotta talk about Peter Grafitsky. And my thoughts and opinions are, girl, run. Because she tells Peter, well, Chris is like, hey, I think it was my cousin Genevieve, who is Peter's ex, right? His first love. And Laura Jean's initially just like, it could have been anyone. But then she does come across Genevieve and questions her, and Genevieve doesn't say anything, but she like knows her tell. So she's like, oh, okay. You did it. Tells Peter. Peter's like, I'll ask her. Goes to her house in the middle of the night to ask her, and she's like, no, I didn't. And so he's like, it couldn't have been her. Right? And then at a later point, Genevieve tells him that she did do it. And she also posted it like on the video screen in front of the whole entire school and all this stuff. And he just didn't tell Laura Jean. And I'm just like, that's where it came to the head, where I was like, no, I can't stay by this man's anymore. Because like there were some questionable things before that. I don't know if the lack of communication feels like it's mostly on his part, because a lot of their issue and the whole entire reason why they break up in this book is because he's sneaking around with Genevieve, right? She's got some secret family stuff going on, and he can't tell Laura Jean about it because it's not his business, right? I get that, and knowing as a reader at the end of the book you learn what it is, yeah, sure. And I get why he wanted to be there for her, because he does explain a part of their past that explains that. Also, when he explains it to her at the end, when they get back together. I get it. But also, he lies about hanging out with her a lot, and then tells her, like, just says, you have to get over it and all this stuff. And brings her around to places and things that she's throwing when he knows that Genevieve is her bully. Like, does he know at this point that Genevieve was the one to record that video and post it online everywhere? We're not sure. But, like, before that, she was also her bully. So, like, be so serious, my dude. And so, because lack of communication and him not being able to say, hey, I have to be here for her on this, like, right now for this, for an hour, but afterwards I'll come talk to you, blah, blah, blah. Right? Because he wouldn't just tell her that, right? And I feel like Laura Jean's the type of person who would understand if you just told her that instead of her having to be all up in her head about it. I think it would have been okay. But I don't know if the lack of communication is just on his part, because we're in Laura Jean's head. So there's a possibility, since we're in her head, I guess it could be partially on her side, but like, I feel like she communicated enough with this bitch, okay? Right? Like, the most she did is she didn't bring up to this other guy that she was dating Peter, and he got all butthurt about it. And she's like, okay, and you invited my bully to my party when I purposely didn't invite her? Like, my dude. So, you know, good old times. I feel like there was gonna be more that I said about it, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. Oh, I remember this whole entire book. Another big thing that they fight about a lot is the fact that she doesn't go to a lot of his lacrosse games. Right? Because she is interning at a old folks home. I don't remember what they officially called in this, but an old folks home. Right? And so at the end of the book, near the end of the book, when she's hanging out with this other guy after they've broken up, and he's just hanging out with Jen, who happens to know that she's interning there, and Jen tricks him into bringing her to that old folks home at an event, private event, that because Laura Jean's internship is event coordinator, assistant coordinator, blah, blah, title, she's obviously going to be there, right? So that she could show off that she's with Peter and also win this game they're playing, right? And the fact that they show up, and he's like, what are you doing here, to Laura Jean? And she's like, we as an audience as readers, see her multiple times telling him that she can't show up to his games because she has this internship that she has to go to. And then also talking about her friend Stormy, fucking love Stormy, at the old folks home, when the older lady's there, who happens to be the other guy's great grandmother. And so he's like, what are you doing here, to that guy? And he's all like, oh, well, my great grandmother goes here and she happens to be good friends with Laura Jean. You probably heard of her. And she's like, he probably doesn't remember. 100% 8. Other things, I don't like Laura Jean's best friend Chris in the book. She's slightly better in the show. I do like how they changed certain stuff in the or not show, movie. But in the book, she's very self-centered. Is that just a thing with her family? Because I know she's Genevieve's cousin. You know, she's very self-centered in this. And you know, it really, Laura Jean's starting to notice this at the end of the book. So maybe that'll be a thing with the third one. But the third one, am I gonna read it during this book? I don't know. Because I'm rating this 3 stars. I've been talking about it for 7 minutes. I'm rating it 3 stars. It was fine. It just took me a bit to get into it. And it wasn't my favorite. I'm gonna start the last series of Olympus tomorrow. If I don't read most of it in one day, I will update you when I reach like halfway through or something. I don't know. Hello, hi. I must spoke you because I took my hair out of the bun and turned off my fins to record this. But the fact that it's nearly 80% humidity and over 100 degrees outside, I'm dying. But that's beside the point because I made progress. I'm putting the dust jacket back on. It is the weekend now, so weekend reading vlog recording happening. So I'll try to fit in a few pages over the weekend, but I don't know. I did get to page 99 exactly, which is a Leo chapter. Leo is my son. I will not be taking questions at this time. He is my son. So is Nico. They are both my sons. Okay. Other things. Imagine my surprise when it's 4 chapters in a row for characters. Not 2. It's been 2 this whole time. Also, I just put the dust jacket on, but it's purple and then it's orange, which is the colors of the camps. It's the colors of the camps. Where I'm in the middle of the Leo section. There's 10 days before the end of the world, so good times. Other things that are happening. Why am I saying it like that? I do not fucking know. Was it a decision to start with Jason's chapters? Especially when it's 4 in a row? Yes, it was. Is Jason my least favorite? Yes, he is. Is it mostly because I know what happens in the Apollo books with him? And so I learned that round book 2, my reread of Son of Neptune. Yeah, I learned that. So I wouldn't let myself get attached. And also, I mean, in my personal opinion, he's kind of the most boring. His personal character arc to me is kind of like the most boring. So like that combined with the fact that I know what happens to him in the Apollo series, I just don't care. I don't care. So you know, that was a decision, and I did force myself to read all 4 of those chapters just to finish him. I did not know that it was gonna be 4 though, so every time there was another one, I was just like, another one, meme, and it was time. It was an experience. It was almost exactly 10% of the book was just Jason in the beginning, and I was ready to scream. Thankfully I was wrong about the joke I made. That was like, I think his second chapter was like 18 pages, and I made a joke that both Leo's chapters in a row, we would be lucky if it was in the double digits combined. Now I know it's 4 chapters in a row, and also the Leo chapter I just read, which is the first Leo chapter, was over 10 pages. So I'm living my best life. Another thing, we have Reina's POV, and side tab that has certain characters. It has 5 characters written down, and they have Jason, Reina, and Leo, but they also have Pepper and Nico, so I wonder if those are going to be the 2 other POVs we get. Stop it, please. That's why I hate dust jackets. But yeah, that's the thing. Also, in case you're wondering, this book did physically injure me. It was just sitting in my bed. I went to climb into bed, or on my bed, and the corner, I had the dust jacket off, and my leg right up against the corner, there's a nice, it's not deep, it's the issue is that it's a long gash in my leg now, and it hurts to walk. So thank you, Uncle Rick. I love it. Anyways, I would like Nemesis to stop, I would like Leo to stop thinking about that Nemesis quote or thing she said about how he's the 7th wheel, and he will never be the same as the others because they're all in like couples, and he will never be like fully a part of them and always be the seventh wheel. I need him to stop thinking about it, and I need her to shut the fuck up. That is my son. So I'm worried about Nico. That's another thing. I'm just worried about my other son, Nico. That is everything. Oh, also, just another Leo thing. He had Halo draw a picture of Calypso so that he could have her face up on the bulletin board next to his 7-year-old drawing, 7-year-old him drawing the Argo 2, so that he could, like, his first dream and this is his new dream, and he could, you know, look at her. And he calls her, he calls her something like sweetheart. It wasn't sweetheart, it was something else. Sunshine. He calls her Sunshine. He calls her picture Sunshine and says he's coming for her. And I'm emotionally okay with that. Rick, I will fight you. Anyways, that's the update. It hopefully not too long when I'm gonna go. I will try to read more of it this weekend, but the plan is to finish it Monday. So, one way or another, this bad boy's gonna happen. Hello, hi. You're ignoring the sound of that fan on high. I don't know if you can hear it. I don't know. I'm putting the dust jacket back on just for you. And while I do that, I want to tell you about how I've changed kind of the top priority books, and how the third and final To All the Boys I Loved Before is not going to be on the priority. That's bottom of the list. Because I don't think I really care right now. No, instead of that, it's going to be, hopefully today, on Monday, finishing this bad boy. And then getting through the Brandon Sandersons. And then maybe possibly during the weekend while also recording the weekend reading vlog, the what is it called, the historical romance. There we go. Anyways, this bad boy, I got over a third of the way through. The goal was 50%. It didn't happen. 178. Anyways, yes, I did read more of it over the weekend. It was good. I'm still liking it. The fact that the Leo chapters and the Nico chapters are back to back means that not Brandon Sanderson, Rick Riordan personally loves me. Thank you very much. Also the fact that Nico is just all like, woo, raising bones. He's so powerful. You know who else is also super fucking powerful? Hazel. She can just like basically control what a god sees, and then in the process change the whole entire environment. And then if she gets injured and distracted, she can still keep up most of it. And I'm just like, hello, ladies. Anyways, yes. Also, I'm on a Piper section, and this is, I think, the first time we've had Piper chapter since the first one, actually. But in the first chapter of the Piper section, there was some stuff of her and Frank just like being friends. It was very sweet. You know, I love it. Let's go friendship. There's kind of a prophecy where one of them has to die in order to win. Nico is very sure it's gonna be him, and I will riot. I know it's not him, and I know it's not Leo, and I know it's not Piper, and I know it's not Jason. That being said, I still will. You know, the fuck, that is my son. Also, more stuff about the internalized homophobia with Nico. I mean, can I please stop relating to it? Because there was that, was it a Greek philosopher? I think so, who said that humans were initially, 2 heads, 4 arms, 4 legs, and then the gods thought they were too powerful, so Zeus split them in 2. Right, 1 man, 1 woman, and for the rest of their lives, people were trying to find their other half, right? And that's what soulmates are. That was the explanation. Nico's just like, well, what does that make me? Alone forever? No, my son. Anyways, there's that. Also, there's like some secrets that some people are keeping. Leo is doing something with the ship that he's keeping from everybody, right? Also, him and Percy have had a conversation about the whole Calypso thing. So that's a fun time. You know, right? Sometimes I just remember when they're in the heat of battle that Percy can control people's blood, and then I question everything. Right? Right? And then, who else has secret things? Raina has secret things with ghosts in her past, which is why she doesn't like dark and death and stuff like that. And then, who the other one? Piper, her mother said something and that she has to keep secret. So all that secret stuff is happening. And then there's also like the Greeks and the Romans are on the verge of fighting. So that's happening. Also, I guess that's the perfect time to read this because it's like 10 days from August 1st, which is when the fighting is supposed to start in Gaia Rises. So I guess that's perfect timing, for me personally. Anyways, that's it. That's the update. I'm gonna go. I have other things I need to do. And also I want to finish this bad boy today because I have exactly 1 week left to read 4 other books as well. So let's see. I did contemplate sitting in a different area, and then I didn't. So yay. I'm about to start. So it's Thursday, by the way. It's Thursday. So, you know, good times. I have things to update you about. I didn't update at home yesterday because, and hear me out, it was too hot. It was too hot to turn off the fans to do this. It was like over 100 degrees outside and then 80% humidity. It is still like 80 something percent humidity, but it's only like 82 degrees outside. So it's manageable without the fans going for the few minutes that I update. God, why does my hair keep on getting in my mouth? That's because I just put it out of a ponytail. That's why. I guess we should start with this bad boy. I did finish it Tuesday night, and I gave it 5 stars. Literally the only complaint is a complaint about myself not reading it when it came out or shortly after it came out, because as I've mentioned multiple times, I knew certain characters weren't going to die, right? And so when one of them does die in the end, but they have like a good chunk of this book is spent with the main 7 searching for the, I think it's called Philosopher's Cure or something like that, that can cure death, right? Like of any kind, all this stuff. And it pretty quickly, like before halfway through, heavily hints that it's gonna be Leo. Like he has a secret plan. He hints at to Hazel and Frank that he's gonna sacrifice himself, and then when they do get the cure, he sneaks it away so that he's the one that has it and puts it in a secret thing that he's secretly building the ship. Which, did I scream in celebration? I'm gonna spoil it. It's a small spoiler. It's Festus. Festus is back. It's a 10 years old book, I think, if you didn't already know. Whatever. It's not that big of a spoiler. It's literally only exciting for me. It's great because literally for Festus to come back, the Argo 2 has to die, which is the ship, and all the stuff. And if you remember, it's been a long time since I read the first one again. I think it was like early last year, when I reread The Lost Arrow. I was like really upset. I think I read it in a 24-hour vlog. I was really upset when Festus died. Like I was legit crying. And then, after that, like on the Greek side in book 2, he spends his time building the Argo 2, right? And so, the way I went off camera, goddamn. He spends his time building the Argo 2, right? And then that's pops up the end of book 2, and they spend all books 3, 4, and 5 on the Argo 2, their ship. And you've spent a long time with this ship, so you feel attached to this ship as well, the characters. But Leo catches a sign. He's like, my ship's not gonna survive this. It's not gonna happen. And so he's all like, he learns a lesson from his father, Hephaestus, which I do picture as Timothy. What's his last name? I can't remember his name. The guy who plays, he plays so many things. He plays Lassiter in Psyche. He plays Cade in Supernatural. I literally got to like his first scene in Supernatural. That's the furthest I've gone. Is around his first episode. But he's the guy who plays Hephaestus in the show. And so now that's how I picture him. Whoops. I mean, the actor who plays Ares was too good perfect choice for Ares in the show. So like I also picture Ares as that guy, so that's great. But he learns from his father to, you know, sometimes you gotta let your creations die, and they can be rebuilt into something new. And throughout this book, you see him building something sacred within the ship. And so when it comes to the end of the book, like the very end of the book, like last 50 pages, they have to get back from Greece all the way to Camp Half-Blood. And the only way to do that is if Zeus literally picks up the whole entire ship and yeets it there. That is not a joke. That actually freaking happens. In the process, the ship is destroyed. Everyone gets off in time except for Leo. They're all freaking out because they think maybe Leo died. But he then, in the midst of the battle with Gaia, he comes out on Festus. Festus is back. I honestly should have guessed this when Piper was able to bring Festus back to mentally to his full glory from book 1 in the last book, but I did not clock that from happening. So Festus is back, and then he's got a secret plan. He also had like a secret compass magic thing that he was setting up. We did see that part. To find Calypso again. So basically, he sacrifices himself to kill Gaia. Did I laugh at the way Octavius dies? We don't need to talk about it, but yes, I did laugh so fucking hard. I almost cried when the Argo 2 was destroyed. I screamed when Festus came back. He sacrifices himself. He's dead. Literally every character is saying that he's dead, including Nico and Hazel saying they felt him die. It was a little weird, but he died. He died, guys. He's dead. My ass, this is the issue with me, because I already know that he's in the later books. I mean, Bessie's reading one of the later books in which him and Calypso are having relationship issues. So now I know that 1, he is alive, and 2, finds Calypso, and they're together. So I wasn't stressed about any of that. The whole time, the last like 30 pages where they're all like, Nico's dead. I was like, no, he's not. Shut the fuck up. I got to see Nico and Will. I'm just so happy. He feels supported. Also the scene when Nico comes out to Percy Jackson is all like, yeah, so the reason why I didn't like you all this time is because I had a thing for you, but you were unattainable, right, and also straight. I didn't actually hate you, but now I recognize that's not a thing anymore, because you're not my type. And then goes and hangs out with Will. Annabeth gives him a high five. And Percy just there stammering, just like, what? I giggle. I laughed at that too. Anyways, the end of the book, the very last chapter is literally Leo. He set up Festus to give him the cure to death, and then he draft lands on the island, gets Calypso out of there, and they fly away. That's the end of the book. I literally would have been so much better if I hadn't fucking spoiled myself for it. That being said, it was still good. 5 stars. It's fine. I don't know when I'm gonna continue the universe. Don't ask me questions. This book is very heavy. I'm gonna set it down now. Here's the issue. I could continue the Riordan verse, but I kind of hyper fixating on a different universe. I think about halfway through, I got like 115 pages in yesterday, right? About halfway through this morning, first thing this morning, I went, okay, I don't remember if I should read the 7th book, because I know there's 7 books in Mistborn, 4 in Mistborn Era Part 2, this whole section group, right? I don't own that one, but I do plan to read by end of tomorrow. I have all 3 of them done. I have finished this one today. I reread the whole freaking thing. Right? So I knew that there's a 7th one, but I haven't, like, do I need to read that one next? Do I need to go on to Elantris next? What do I do next, right? And Storygraph is very great for this, where people put the order of books you're supposed to read them in for universes. I'm also in one like this for Shadowhunter universe and the Percy Jackson universe. So, like, right, thank you to this random person for making this list. Reading challenge thing on Storygraph based off of what Brandon Sanderson says is the reading order. So I do think after book 6 there's another short story or novella. I do have like the Arcanum one, the one that's like all the short stories before you're supposed to read book 7. But yeah, the next full-length book after what is it, Bands of Mourning, is the 7th one, which I don't own, and I do not have time to read it until over a month from now when I'm on vacation. And I'm not happy about that because I know he's gonna leave it on a cliffhanger. Fuck this bitch. And I'm very unhappy about this. And then, of course, I was adding all the books in the right order to the reading shelf, blah, blah, blah. There's so many that are over 1,000 pages. I really need to, one, question how he has time to write all this. Two, question how the hell I'm gonna read all these. I mean, the third one of these, of the Wax and Wayne series, is over 500 pages, at least my copy is. Like, can this man calm down? With that being said, I got really excited to read more of the universe, and now I think I'm high-key hyper fixating on this. Anyways, this bad boy, this is a reread. It was 2022. It was June of 2022 when I read this, so it's been just over 2 years. I remembered the general stuff, like who the bad guy is. I remember the flirtation between Wax and I can't remember her name. Is it on this one? Is it on the back of this one? I think that's her name, Marcy. That sounds similar to how it was pronounced in the audiobook, right? Marcy, right. I remembered that flirtation. I remember him winning at the end. I remembered a little bit with him having conversations with the Mist. Right. I didn't remember the extent of him having conversations with the Mist. Also, Marcy having a conversation with that guy at the end after, is his name Max? Mike? Something like that. I literally just finished this. The bad guy in this book, who's not like the main bad guy, right? He has like backers and whatnot. So obviously, yeah, I didn't remember that guy coming up to Marcy. That's, God, I have to keep on checking Marcy, to give a message to Wax. I remembered Wax turning her down and going with her half-sister, who is the one with the title, and, well, not title, but the one with the money and all the stuff, right? That other than the two of them, all the other kidnapped girls are still missing, right? And I remembered who the backer that we saw. There's like more backers. There's like a whole group of them, but the main backer that we saw, but we didn't know the identity of, I did remember the identity of, which I am now going to spoil because I'm reading the whole entire, I'm reading 3 of these. You're gonna hear me talk about them, right? It is Wax's dead uncle. He, in this book, he is basically a lawman, Wild West style. I remember not expecting to like it so much, but I did. And it's really funny because I just started watching the Fallout show, and the ghoul guy, who is also Wild West vibes. Yeah, okay. Maybe I like Wild West vibes, I don't know. But he was a lawman and whatnot, Wild West vibes, blah, 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 blah. And then his uncle dies and he inherits the family title and lack of fortune because they're kind of poor, and all this stuff. And that's why he's back in the city trying to live his life after his lover died by his hand accidentally. That was the prologue. God, the way that it immediately started with that. What the hell, Brandon? Anyways, yeah. So it's like secret. His uncle faked his death. And is the guy behind it all. And also, his sister, who supposedly died also in the same accident, didn't die. She's still alive, and he also has her. Right? Right? And there's some connection with the, is her name Vin from the main series? The first 3, and I don't remember his name. There's some connection between them and the girls who are being kidnapped. And then, yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff. Honestly, how Brandon Sanderson's brain works, I cannot understand, because what the fuck? Just the magic system alone. I can't speak words anymore, apparently. Anyways, I remembered that, but I didn't remember all the little stuff. Like, I remember liking Wax and Wayne's friendship. That's the main way I compared it to the Six of Crows duology, right? You know, I liked him much more than I remembered. It was just a good time. I just like the friendship group, and it's just very, it's perfect amount of funny and also serious, right? It's not like it's trying to be funny during this very serious moments, and the rare occasions it's with Wayne's character, and you understand from the view, very few times you get Wayne's POV, why he's like that. Also, I don't remember the whole aspect of him changing personality, like not really personalities, but like becoming a whole new person with a new voice and everything, to blend in and whatnot at any moment. I did not remember that being so cool in this. So also I did remember Miriam's power, is that even her name, being important for the end battle. I remembered that. Anyways, I liked it more second time around. I don't know. I think personally, if I were to reread from the very beginning, I would put the first Mistborn book at 4 stars with the other 2. And then this one is, I upped from a 4 to a 4.5 because I am liking the characters more. So there's that. I've been talking for 15 minutes and I'm sweating my whole butt off because of the humidity. So I'm gonna shut up. This is gonna be such a long vlog, and I know that. And the good news is it shouldn't take too long to edit because I don't have to put butt covers in. It's fine. Anyways, I'm gonna go start this bad boy. I'm gonna try to read the whole thing. It's like 430 something pages. My copy is. I did tab where all the stuff about the medals in case I need to go back and look at them. Though it does a good job of explaining what the medals do in a way that reminds you without you having to be like looking back in the book. But if you're like reading them all back to back and you know all the rules of the magic system, you're not like feeling annoyed about the way that it's explained, right? It's one of those where it's done well. Anyways, I'm gonna go try to read this whole freaking thing and then read all the third one. Bands of Mourning. I keep on saying 3 or 6. All of that one tomorrow. That's the plan. And then the Historical Romance all weekend. Why do I do this myself? Anyways, that's a plan. I'm gonna do that. I won't update you today. I think I'm just gonna like read through them, update you in the morning, read through the next one, update you as soon as I finish that one, move on with my life. Like, I don't think I would update you in the middle just because I just want to read through them. I'm having a good time. I'm really liking them. I like them. Do other people like these, or is it just me that I like the vibes of these ones more than the other ones that I've read so far, and other people prefer the vibes of the other ones and think this is weird? I don't know. Who knows? Anyways, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna read this, do other stuff. I just realized my nails match this one. That's so funny. Okay, I'm gonna go. Somehow I did it. I read 721 pages yesterday to read 240-ish pages of this bad boy, and then read this whole thing. And you know, I question my sanity, but I did it. 4 stars. This is about on par with the first 3 in the series for me, in the universe, whatever. And I have one very basic explanation for why, which is it gives more the original 3 and not the Alloy of Law. Yeah, the story-wise, it is very much closer to those 3. I mean, there's even like one of the characters in the at least second and third Mistborn book, if I remember properly, is in this one. He's just like a cameo in this one, kind of. And I mean, I do like the learning that, I think her name's Lessie, who in Alloy of Law prologue, he shoots her in the head aiming for somebody else. I guess they were married, learned that in this. And so they were love, all this stuff. And then at the very end of this one, he learns that Lessie didn't die because she wasn't human, and also was a creature sent by Harmony, who is his god, to watch over him and all this stuff before he could leave the refs and return home and do all this stuff. And so at the end of the book, he re-kills her, not knowing that, and then as she's dying tells him. And so now he is like a whole question of faith, and that's how it ends, right? I'm not gonna question why my nose is writing so much. I did read the back of the Bands of Mourning, which is about the bands of the guy I don't remember the guy, but the guy's fans, I don't remember which guy it was, went missing after he died, and there's rumors that it's back, and Wax is like, this isn't my job, but ends up having to do it. But yeah, it's a lot of, it says in the back that that one's very much a question of faith for him, all that stuff. Also, I think this is the second book in this universe so far that has mentioned Trell. I was like, I remember that name, right? And I looked it up, and it's because, yeah, he's like mentioned in most of these, but he's not actually a character until I think the fourth Wax and Wayne book, and he's another god. Wild. Good times. But yeah, no, it feels more like those books. On top of that, another reason why it feels more like those and less like Alloy of Law is the friendship. The friendship group is kind of split up. Not really. They still are all hanging out together. And the Wax and Wayne are the same. They always have been. Their friendship is. And I still love that. And Wayne and I want to say Miriam, but it's not that. Marcy. My brain wants to say Miriam, but it's Marcy. Wayne and Marcy still have a good friendship, right? That whole thing's happening. Good times. They're just like still friends who get along. But another thing that's happening throughout this book is she now works for the constables, which is the police force, right? And he, at the end of Alloy of Law, Wax is officially kind of deputized, where basically he legally can go hunt down criminals, and swing his gun, do all this stuff, right? So that all the stuff that he did at the end of Alloy of Law, throughout that whole entire book, they could say he was doing it legally, and then they get credit for it, kind of, and all that stuff. And so now he can continue to do that, as long as he doesn't like break any laws himself, all this stuff, right? And so a lot of every other character, especially on the Marcy side, is about how he's just running around doing this stuff, looking into all this, being the lawman he's been, right? But how it affects other people, including but not limited to her relationship with other constables, the whole constable situation there, her like boss Adele. I want to say it's Adele, but I don't think that's actually his name, right? How like they have to deal with repercussions. I mean, I haven't mentioned it, but there's like a newspaper in each of these, right? That's split up into 4 parts. And in this one, there is a part in the newspaper, right, that is talking about like, oh, this is the exploits of Wax. This is like the amount the government's being charged for him breaking things. Like that whole aspect, and how like he views himself as higher than all this, right? And he doesn't realize it, but like it affects all these people under him, include like a lot of his Marcy, and how she is heavily affected by it. And also like he doesn't notice her. It's very standoffish relationship, and I don't think he recognizes it, right? I think he just thinks that he's like talking to her and whatnot, but to her it's very standoffish. I mean, he's like heavily affecting her career constantly, right? And all these other things. I mean, the whole entire reason why she got her job is so that she can low-key spy on him, so like the constables are always at least not a step ahead, but like at least know what he's doing, right? And all this stuff. And he doesn't recognize how his actions affect her, and also the fact that like she low-key hinted that she has a thing for him, but now he's like with her half-sister. Definitely at the end of this one, it's very much they're even more together. And so she's dealing with that, and also the way that he affects her life in just like every aspect, and he's like the main character of her whole life, and she's just like right? She's like kind of over it now. And because of that, they have like 3 scenes together or something like that. And then the fact of that means that like the trio, it doesn't feel like the same trio anymore. It's not the same trio. And it's sad. It's sad. Did I tell you about the plot of this one? No. The governors who's like in charge of making sure people do things, I don't fucking know, explained it. Did I pay attention to it? No. Though there was this really cool scene where the governor's brother, who is suspected to do illegal things, but they can never catch him on them, is doing some illegal things with a bunch of other rich people. And then, oh no, they're all assassinated. And so trying to figure out who did the assassinating, as well as starting basically a war between the classes, right? And also there's the fact that the belief that whoever killed him wants to also kill the governor, right? And it's one of those people, is it like cattle, something like that, starts with a K. I remember that, who can eat the bones of other creatures and then like morph into them, right? And they have one that's working with them to hunt down the one that's gone bad, right? And that's the one that is secretly Leslie all along, from the very beginning, like since they met, right? Who was sent to take care of him, and the one who is helping them hunt her down, not knowing that's her, right? And Wayne have like this cool friendship. I like did like that aspect. But yeah, that's how the character from the original trilogy comes in, because the one that was like kind of the dog in that series comes in and is like as an ancestor, whatnot, to help Wax out. So yeah, that's the plot of this one, which, if you've noticed anything, has nothing to do with the plot of of Alloy Law. The plots aren't the same, like, connected at all. Like, you know, Wax low-key thinks that maybe his uncle is working with the woman, Bleeder, who is secretly Leslie, all that stuff, right? Because he thinks that she's gonna try to kill him, and it's heavily hinted that his uncle is working with her, kind of, hoping that Wax dies, but, like, she's not there to kill him, so, like, haha, fuck you. But, like, that's it. Like, we don't know about any more of the stuff to do with the suits, which is the uncle's organization. Yeah, it just didn't feel like they were they're like technically the same characters, but they didn't feel like they were from the same universe almost. Like, this feels like a world of its own in comparison to this, because this was very much more like the original trilogy. I did, in the reading the back of the Bands of Mourning, I think his uncle and the suits come back in that one. I don't know. Anyways, I rated it 4 stars. It was like fine. It was fine. I'm gonna try to read all of Bands of Mourning today. We'll see, because it's after 2. It's after 4. I know I have a migraine. So we'll see if it happens, but I'm hoping so. It shouldn't, with the audiobook, it shouldn't take me too long. But then again, the audiobook's like 14.5 hours, so we'll see. Because yes, I'm dual reading all these. I do like the narrator. I mean, he's like world renowned, apparently. I don't know. And all this stuff. But yeah, that's the update that I talked about for 10 minutes. In my defense, I didn't update you in the middle, so this is the only update you get for that whole entire book. Fine. Yeah, today, Friday, I'm gonna try to read all of Bands of Mourning, and then this weekend read the historical romance, and then we done. I'll have like finished almost every single series I'm in the middle of that I physically own, because like the only other book that is part of a series that I've started will be the last To All the Boys, which is definitely feels interesting. I mean, I guess I technically have the next, I guess it's 6.5 in Mistborn, which is the novella, right? I have that because I have the Arcanum, but I'm not gonna read that yet. Maybe I'll try to read it before I go on vacation so that I can read 7, but we'll see. Well, it is Saturday, but I only read like 60 pages of this yesterday. Whoops. In my defense, migraine, and also a lot of time puzzling. It's like 1:30 in the afternoon, and I finished it. So, thoughts and opinions. I think I'm gonna go with 4 stars again, though the cliffhanger at the end, I knew. It says at the very end, there is always another secret. And I think in the end, there's a note from Benedict Sanderson saying that there's gonna be a 4th one. But it doesn't come out for a bit because he's currently writing Oathbringer, I think it was. So, and that's why the novella in between, which I think is The Secret History, I think that's the name of it. I don't know. I went to tab it the location in the Arcanum copy of the Arcanum I have, and I already have it tabbed. Things passed me from like 2 years ago, so I may read that before I go on vacation in case I can get my hands on the 4th one and, you know, have a good time. Thoughts and opinions, 4 stars. It's basically a mix of Shadow of Self and Alloy of Law. Good times. They continue to hint at the fact that Wax, you know, just like jumps in and does things and doesn't really think of the repercussions or any other stuff about it. I mean, Mercy and her sister, who is now his wife, even talk about it for a bit and all this stuff. I do like how we get to see some of their actual sisterly relationship growing. Also some character growth with Wayne. Yeah, Wayne, that's his name. Why did I go, is that his name? Yeah, it is. There's some character growth with him. We love it. Yeah, there's more about the stuff that was the cliffhanger of the Alloy of Law in this, but there's also some stuff about the religion aspect from Shadow of Self. So it's like a combination of the two, because they're leading to the same place, which is the Bands of Mourning. Good times. Also, it makes sense why Trell, is that his name? The other god, who Harmony is like not having a good time with, causing all this stuff, who we learn at the very end of this one. I already said I was getting to spoilers. Soot, who is also known as Wax's uncle, who was behind of all this stuff, right? He was the one paying for all the stuff in Alloy of Law. Well, turns out he's not the one in charge. The one in charge is Trell. And then blows him up. So funny. I mean, not funny, but it was definitely unexpected. Also, I did laugh at one point because Wayne does a thing that's character growth from him, and I was like, good times. I'm expecting we're gonna learn either, actually, now that I remember that the title of the novella is Secret History, I'm gonna say novella. I think it's like 120 pages or something like that. Think since the title is Secret History, maybe it does have to do with the cliffhanger in this and what all that was, because I think what's happening here with the cliffhanger is, don't quote me on this, but I think what is happening is what's his face, I can't remember his name, Head Mistborn guy from the first book, very beginning, who died in the first book, and I was like, what the hell? He had a spike, one of those spikes in his eye, and whatnot, and went to the secret group of people that show up in this book, and tells them to survive. I think he's the survivor. They have code names for the 3 main characters in that trilogy, and I'm always like, which one's which? Right? I think he's the survivor, right? And he tells them to survive, and Wax sees that memory, and then that's how it ends. That's how this book ends. So maybe the Secret History is about that, and if so, I kind of want to read it right now, but I don't have time because I gotta go read the historical romance, which is just over 400 pages. So lovely. This one was just over 500 pages. But yeah, I read this bad boy. I'm giving it 4 stars. Hello, hi, it is 6:30 Sunday night. How far did I get into this book yesterday? 96 pages into, where did I put the dust jacket? Over here. Portrait of Scotsman. It didn't even matter because I'm the author tab over the front. I don't care enough to put it back on. Also, I kind of just like, I don't think it's picking up really, but it's kind of a mauve color. I'm liking it. It's whatever. I am using my Books and Lala Chain bookmark, one of the two, because the other one's here. But this is usually the one I do for romances. Yeah. It's late in the night. I have not read any more. That's a lie. I did just pick it up and read 2 sentences. Okay? So let me give you the basic rundown of this, and then, use that to explain why I don't think I'm gonna finish it in time for this vlog, and that is fine because I am putting it on hold, softy and effing, I don't know. Like, I'll try to make my way through it before I go away, but if I don't, that's fine. I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it. These are just what's happening. Portrait of a Scotsman is about, you know, I really love how I'm really good at this. I remember his name is Lucian, and he's Scottish, obviously. I really, we gotta talk about how in every piece of media recently, I don't know how long, his last name is Blackstone, I think, but his family name, because, I think that's his stepmother, but his mother's name, I think, family's name is Mackenzie. And apparently Mackenzie is the Scottish version of Russian Dmitri, where if there's the male hero, if he's Russian, he's gotta be named Dmitri. If he's Scottish, apparently he's gotta be named Mackenzie. We're not gonna question it. That's just a thing that I'm noting. Thank you very much. Hattie, that's her name. Okay, Hattie is the daughter of a banker, very rich banking family, and she's like the only one who's not good at numbers and reading in general and all that stuff. She's not like intellectually expert. I think, I'm not gonna diagnose her officially, but from what I can tell, she's got dyslexia. Don't know. But basically she can't, like, things, it's not said that things are in the wrong order, but it's heavily hinted, like, reading addresses to try to go to, like, an address, she messes up the order of the numbers sometimes, right? So that's, like, an issue for her. So I'm assuming dyslexia. Her father spent exorbitant amount of money to get tutors and doctors and all this stuff, and they're like, it's fine. She can just, like, be the pretty one. So her family doesn't really respect her because she's just the pretty one who likes to paint. That's what she does. She paints. She goes to Oxford as an artist, right? But she is feeling kind of down in her artistic pursuits, right? She doesn't think that she has enough life experience to actually be a good artist, right? And because she's a woman in London society that is also of high standing, there's like a whole issue of when is she gonna get that experience, like when are you not gonna, like, all this stuff, right? So in order to get a general understanding of how to better do her artwork, she wants to see this example of Ophelia. I really should look up if some of these pieces that she talks about are actual real pieces. I'm gonna hold up the book cover so my hand doesn't hurt, and also you don't hear the bookmark. So I should really look them up, but she likes classic, usually, sometimes Shakespearean, but mostly I think Shakespearean. That's Shakespeare, I don't know. Greek reference. She's currently doing one on Persephone, when Persephone is dragged down into the underworld by Hades, right? These kind of darker themes, co-artists who are all men in her art class are all like, hey, you really like these dark themes that, like, you're just a woman, you could just, like, paint frilly flowers, like, you don't need to worry about making sure that portraying the true emotion of the scene, because you just, like, paint frilly flowers, why don't you do that, right? But she relates to some of them very well. There's the way that the Ophelia is described when she eventually does see it. I'm not gonna do it justice, but the way it's written is like she I don't know, I'm not gonna do it justice, I'm not even gonna try it. But it's really well written, the way that she perceives the artwork, and then she uses that to describe to Blackstone. How do they meet? They meet because he has Ophelia. He collects art because he thinks one day it will be worth more money. That's the whole reason why, right? He's big on money. He is basically a nobody who has recently come into a lot of money, invested really well, and there's this guy named Rutland who is a little suspicious the way that he basically targets him, bought up all his debts. Like, he dropped all the debts of these other people that he bought out, right? But he keeps Rutland's debts and is not being a gentleman about it, Some suspicious things there about that. Another thing about him, he is a bastard of a lord, so that's another thing, right? She leaves her aunt behind, who's her chaperone, as well as the guy who's supposed to like protect her and whatnot, right? Because she's a lady, and puts on just like a normal outfit and pretends to be her like some random lady who she knows at Oxford, who got this invite to this tour of his artwork, and pretends to be her at this whole thing, right? She's there, and he assumes that she's there to bang-a-lang-a-lang, so he just kisses her. She is into it for a moment, and then she's like, wait a second, what the fuck is happening? Slaps him. If you saw my review of While the Duke Was Sleeping, I forget what month that was, that's not my favorite. Yeah, that was like the first chapter. That's the first thing you read. Evie, we gotta have a conversation. Anyways, moving on. He quickly realizes, shit, what happened here? He recognizes also she's giving a false name, all this stuff. She trying to get away from him, does twist her ankle. One thing I really don't like that's done about this is the way that he acts about the whole thing makes her feel like that he's acting like she's the crazy one. Which, yeah, no. Anyways, the tour was canceled. Nobody told her. She ends up going home, thinking nothing of it, really. He quickly recognizes who she is. He's able to put pieces together, because how many redheads are there who are really good at art? And she's known, her whole family, I think all three of the daughters are redheads, right? And she's known for being into art. And she was able to like recognize this thing about one piece of art, blah, 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 right? So, he makes a plan, cough, cough, right? And so then he goes to this party that her family's throwing, right? They have some conversations about art in which she learns that he likes art just for like the monetary purpose of it, right? And she talks about the emotional purpose of it and whatnot. They talk some about Ophelia. There's some stuff about that. It is, I'll give it this, which is, the way it's done is in such a way where it's in, me trying to find words. The way I described it to Fish yesterday is like when, the only person who understands you is the other person, right? In the pairing. Nobody in her family understands her. They make fun of her a lot. Her art is considered the tame thing whenever they fight at dinner parties or family dinners and whatnot about banking stuff. They just bring up her art because nobody actually cares about her art, so we'll calm everybody down, right? But he seems to like understand her emotions behind those things. She's very much an emotional person in comparison to the rest of her family, all this stuff, right? Right. Also, thing to note, she's a middle child, and her younger sister is about to be married off to Knight, so that's a thing. I don't remember her. The two other characters from the previous two books, right, are away on vacation. And so the other one, who is the one that the fourth book is about, is the only one she can talk about, and she does tell her that she dreams of being married, because then, like, what are her options? Be controlled by her family who doesn't understand her, or possibly find a love match. And yes, she'll have to do what he says as well, but it won't be much different. And at least then maybe she can wear what she wants, right? That's like the comparison. Also, there's like stuff about how her mom thinks she's too fat and won't let her eat, which is great when you see his point of view and he's all like, I love those hips. So, you know, good times. Anyways, he kind of makes up this plan where he's gonna open up the tours of his gallery, right? Hint that she is helping finance up and coming artist charity thing that he wants to make. She is one of the very few people who happen to be there for this event. You know that he, or of upper standing, right? You know that he wants something from her father, right? So they're at this event. There was a whole thing where he was talking about double-sided mirrors earlier, so of course double-sided mirrors are coming in. They're talking about Ophelia, they're looking at Ophelia, they're having this conversation, they kiss, but then everyone sees them, and so now they must get married. And I, at the point where I am, don't know if all of this was planned by him, right? Like, he very quickly goes to her father. He's like, yeah, so this happened. I will marry her, and I will, in order to make it worthwhile, because I am of lower standing, and whatnot, I will give you this amount of shares of this thing, all this stuff, to get in with the family. It seems like he wants their status to further his goal, right? But also, he wasn't expecting her to kiss him. So, like, I don't know. If all of that was planned, right? But he does, as soon as everyone walks in, he's like, oh my god, he very calmly looks towards everyone, expecting them to be there. So, yeah. Obviously, she's panicking. For obvious reasons, she contemplates running away, but then she's like, I wouldn't know how to survive. Right? Her other options are being sent away to the asylum, all this stuff, right? So, like, he's basically her only option if he is down to marry her. Everyone in her family blames her, calling her, what was it they called her? Basically calling her an 1800s version of a whore, right? So that's great. Her sister is all like, if I can't marry my knight because of you, I will never forgive you. You are the worst person ever. How could you do this to me? This is all about me now. How fucking dare you? All this stuff. As she's literally crying in bed, depressed, right? Blackstone comes over, and she sits him down, has a whole conversation about, like, who they are as people, right? Apparently, there's not much information that comes out of it. I guess a little bit about him. The most information that comes out about it is that she wanted a love match and all this stuff, and there's no way that he's any of this stuff. He promises never to hit her, and she asks him his first name, and then he tells her it's Lucian, and then when at the end she's like, tell me something about yourself that nobody else knows, and he says, I already have, I told you my name. That's not suspicious, that's weird. Anyways, they're confirmed to getting married. And that's that. That's what I've read. Now, let me remind you, I am nearly 100 pages in. And no romance really has happened. There's like this somewhat cute moment when she's like straight up panicking about all this, like having a breakdown, and he strokes her cheek and is all like, we'll be fine or something. Yeah, he says we'll suit just fine. I think we'll suit just fine. Right? But there's no romance happening yet. And this book is just over 400 pages. I am a quarter of the way through this book. And there's no romance happening yet. It is set up for the romance. And I forgot about this. I forgot about this with Evie Dunmore. She spends a long time setting up the characters before the actual romance portion happens. Right? Which is fine. The issue is that with this specific one, the way it's written, the way it's forced marriage, all this stuff, it's bogging down, right? And I could probably force myself to read the whole entire thing today if I had started earlier, right? But I didn't want to do that to myself, right? I wanted to feel the slow pace of this building, right? It's gonna be a slow pace romance, slow burn. That's the word I was trying to think of. Not even term. I don't know. Anyways, the moral of the story is, I know this is gonna be slow burn because most of hers have been slow burn at this point. At least the other two that I've read have been, especially Rogue of One Zone. That one's much longer too. Right? At least that one had the aspect where they knew each other and were childhood friends, kind of, right? They have a history, right? To get up to this slow burn. This one doesn't. Like, they're basically strangers. They met for the first time a week ago and now they're getting married. Okay? I don't know why I'm holding that. So, like, it's gonna be a long time before this gets to the, like, actual steaming romance we all want and love. And that's fine. But I don't want to push myself through it to get to that point, and not be able to fully enjoy the slow burn aspect. And so, because of that, I will read more of it today. I will update you tomorrow with how much I get through and any thoughts I have at that point. But I'm gonna end the vlog like planned tomorrow. I'm not gonna go like an extra day or two and then try to scramble and edit this thing to get it out in time when I could just like not and just take my time with this bad boy while I do other things. So yeah, that's the plan. That's what's happening. I talked for 16 minutes about this, and this whole time my hair's been up, so I look absolutely freaking horrible. Yeah, that's that. I'm gonna go read at least a few chapters of this before I do some yoga and whatnot. So goodbye. Fun times. I don't know what else to say. At least my bookmark's cute. There's that. I'm starting to sweat, so I'm actually gonna go now. Goodbye. Hello, hi. I took my hair down to record this. It's Monday afternoon. I got, I think, 128 pages total into this bad boy before I ended it. The vlog, I mean. They're married now. More of the same. He is starting to fall for her, but he's not recognizing that he's falling for her. And she is just constantly stressed and upset about the whole situation. Valid. He's doing the bare minimum, I guess. And that's it. That's the update. It's whatever. I definitely don't think, like, it's kind of saddening me because the first book in the series, which I recognize now is not as good as I thought it was when I first read it, but it is the book that got me into reading historical romance in the first place. And then A Rogue of One's Own isn't technically a straight romance because the male main character in that one is bi, which is mentioned in this briefly because he is kind of friends with Blackthorn. Is that even his name? Lucien. They're kind of friends, and so he like briefly mentions that the male main character from A Rogue of One's Own is the type of man to have slept with many women and men, and yet is now engaged to a beautiful lady and all this stuff, and went away to Italy and all this stuff. And of course, so they have mutual friends because his, like, one of his very few friends happens to be engaged to one of her best friends, and whatnot. Do any of them understand what's happening? I don't think so. You know, because she contemplated writing them letters, and then she was like, no, I don't want to ruin them by being in friendship with me and whatnot. And then learn from her older sister, who seems to be the only sane one about this whole entire fucking situation, that her mother, like, she did get letters from her friends being like, what's happening? And her mother burned them all. And it's, yeah, and it's like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have told you that because now you're going to be emotional. How dare you be emotional? Her brother's been pretending she doesn't exist. Her younger sister is mad at her, blaming her for every small thing that goes wrong. Her father, just treating her like a prize mare, like, that he's selling off. Though she doesn't know the extent. Like, she knows that Lucien agreed to marry her and assumes there's, like, something to do with the dowry and whatnot. Like, knows that there's something to do with the dowry, right? Because he told her about that, but doesn't know that the dowry is basically paying for the shares that he sold, or someone sold. Some switching of things, ownership between the two, her father and Lucien, that she doesn't know about. And he, when it happens, is all like, if she ever learns about this, it's gonna upset her. So obviously near the end of the book, she's gonna learn about it and she's gonna be upset. That's what the third act breakup's gonna be about. Right? Her mother is already not a great woman, okay? A lot of fat phobia going on there. So, you know, we'll give Lucien the fact that he's, one, into her body type, right? And two, she's all like, yeah, no, I was never able to, like, wear dresses. Like, he's talking about their wedding, and she's like, oh, the wedding dress was horrible. It was my mother's idea. I hated it. I never get to wear dresses that actually look good on me because she wants me to wear dresses that would look good on a woman of her stature who is smaller. in size, like, right? And so he's like, okay, get new dresses made, get it. And she's like, I'll get a few. And he's like, nah, get like a dozen, I don't care, get as many as you want. Which, you know, okay, I'll give him that. Because that's like the one thing she wanted, one of the few things she wanted from a marriage, other than love, is the opportunity to live under her, not under her mother's thumb, and like have to be dressed the way she wants, look the way she wants, right? And all this stuff. So, you know, technically he's giving her some things that she wanted and didn't even voice that she wanted. So there's that. It's fine. It's fine. Anyways, can we believe I read 5 books in this? Yeah. And 2 of them were over 500 pages. We don't need to talk about it. This was a fun time. I guess To All the Boys I Loved Before sequel is a loser. It's a P.S. I Still Love You. Yeah. I think so. Alloy of Law, the reread, is second winner. I forgot that Heroes of Olympus. I almost said House of Olympus. No, Heroes of Olympus is the real winner. Because that one I rated 5 stars. I did finish a series, that means. Which is cool of me. Anyways, that's that. I'm ending this. I got other shit I gotta do, and I need to edit this bad boy and do all this stuff. So, and read a bunch of other things. Condensation from my coffee dripped on the cover and sticking it to itself. Anyways, that's it. That's the vlog. I read books. I read a lot of books. I am expecting this to be hella long and take a long time to edit because of how much I did not shut up about books that I read. So that's fun. Thank you for coming. This is the last fishing series vlog for a while. Because me going away. The next reading vlog will be a weekend reading vlog. I already know. It's a book that I enjoyed. I'm trying to remember if I rated it 4.5 stars or 5 stars. That's how much I enjoyed it. I had a really good time. Okay? So that's a fun thing. Yeah, no, I don't expect another one of these until, like, maybe October. If I can make time in October. So, it's gonna be a bit. And yeah, that's everything. Fridays here, at night, gaming videos from my streams. Also on Fridays, link below. And the links will be the Spotify and YouTube for the podcast, which there is also an Apple Podcast version. I forget about that. Is that even in the links? I don't know. But that's the thing. If you want to check that out, there's books, there's things. Will I get all the episodes done before I leave? I will not know. I do not know. I know nothing. I know nothing. Anyways, that's it. I'm gonna go. Thanks for coming. This is gonna it's gonna be a beast. It's gonna take a long time to upload. Anyways, that's it. Until the next video.